أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. For anyone who leaves his fast without any reason in the month of Ramadan, or purposely breaks his fast without any excuse which is justified, then that man has got to pay what is called kafara. For any fasts which have been left out in our lives without any reason, there is a kafara together with the qada. And this kafara is sort of an expiation or what we call penalty. And for each fast, 3 sorts of kafara have been prescribed. Either one will, in lieu of each fast of Ramadan which has been left out purposely without any justifiable excuse, he will have to observe 60 fasts. And for these 60 fasts, the method is that for 31 days, it has got to be a continuous fast. After 31 days, one can plan it and fast a day or on alternate days or even leave out 3-4 days to complete the balance. And therefore, one must not start kafara roza when he is trying to give away kafara in such times of the month when dates like Eid al-Adha falls in between. Because to fast on Eid day is haram. Continuity will be broken of 31 days. And if continuity is broken, one has got to start all over again. With the exception of the ladies who have got their periods, and if they come across a time when they cannot fast because of their periods, they will not observe the fast for those days in which they are in their periods, but they don't have to repeat all over again. This applies to the ladies in hayd, and this also applies to the ladies in nifas, which is after the delivery of the child. It also applies to a man who has got to undertake an extremely important journey. It is quite possible in one's life that there is a journey which is extremely important, inevitable, unavoidable. Then, of course, he will not fast on that day of journey or 2, and he doesn't have to start all over again. But otherwise, we have to start all over again. That is one kafara. If he cannot do this, then to free a slave. Many people have asked us to whether freeing a slave is at all applicable in these days, because normally we all are told that slave trade has been abolished once and for all. It is a myth, because there is still slave trade going on, and God forbid. But there are parts in Africa, there are parts in other Near East and Far East countries where slave trade is still on, and there are different types of slavery. It's not the slavery that used to be, but nowadays there is what is called debt slavery. Debt slavery means when somebody, your father or your grandfather or somebody from your family has taken a loan, then the children are bound by slavery, and they have to slave for the person who has loaned them money. We have got instances before us. So any type of slavery, to free a slave means to make him a free man. And third, if you can't do these either, then to feed 60 poor. And to feed means to feed them to their tummy fill or heart's content once. And these 3 kafara are wajib on a person, either of any one of these 3, on a person who has left his roza. Now, Allah may save us from a situation where a man may have got years and years and years of qada purposely left out, thinking that Roza is not wajib for me, or Allah Ghafurur Rahim. As many people in the month of Ramadan don't observe fast. Well, they will have to select one of these three to pay off their kafara. In any case, if the kafara cannot be paid either in part or in full, then our ulama have concluded from the ahadith that have been received that that person will do as much as he can, and for the rest he will seek forgiveness from Allah. Allah may forgive him, istighfar and all that. But if somebody breaks his fast with haram, na'udhu billah, that means he does not keep the fast in the month of Ramadan and breaks it with haram, that means the things which are haram to take. God forbid if he breaks his fast with wine, or he commits adultery. He has broken the fast with an act which is inherently haram. Then he has to pay all the three kafara together. And Ayatullah Sistani has mentioned that in this category, even those are included who may commit such acts which may not be haram inherently, but which may be particularly haram in his situation. Like a person for whom a particular food is haram to take, injurious, he has been told, and he breaks his fast with that food which is haram for him to eat or to drink, even then he falls in this category. And a person who commits sexual intercourse in the time when it is haram to do, like when the wife is in the period, then of course that is also included in this. Breaking the fast is haram deed, and therefore he has got to pay all the three kafaras. Therefore, my friends, apart from gunah and ma'asiyah and sin that we commit by not fasting in the month of Ramadan, we must also understand that there is a kafara and there is an expiation for it. And may Allah save us from such situations. As you know, we have been discussing so many things, some of which may seem very subtle and abstract. But as you know, in order to be true Muslims, what we have to understand first is, of course, our set of belief, which are the principles. We have adopted them, we have accepted them when we have said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. But what is absolutely necessary for any society or any individual is that apart from having accepted a set of belief, he must understand it. Ayatullah Sayyid Baqir al-Sadr, in his small essays in the book which is called Risalatuna, says that after having adopted a mabda, there is a need of ifham and tafhim, that it must be understood and it must be explained thoroughly. If we do not, then we have lapses, then we have problems, then we have our culture entering into religion with all sorts of suspicions and superstitions in the name of madhab. Something which is not in religion enters. I remember an incident in India. In India there is a community, Shia Ithnashari. There is a community which believes that if a crow crows on your house early in the morning, kagro, kavwa, crow, it brings the news of death. Now, can you control the crow? In Hero, we cannot. Every morning, together with all the birds who sing and chirp, there is always a master crow. Now, what to do? It crows on your house early in the morning or on your neighbor's house. You don't have to wait for a fax to arrive that someone has died or somebody in the house. It's all nonsense. But what they believe in is that if it crows over a house where there is a wedding, then the bride or bridegroom will die. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Now, it so happened once that there was a marriage in the household and a crow started crowing early in the morning. Now what to do? And as we know, in India there is called Barat. That means the party of the bridegroom is arriving this afternoon. The bride is ready, the family is ready to celebrate, and the Barat is going to come. So they sent a message to Barat that the bride has died. Advance. The family of the bridegroom immediately started Fatihan. Men and women started weeping and lamenting, said, hi, why? After 3 or 4 hours, another messenger comes and says that, no, the bride is safe. There has been some mistake. Oh, again it was Khushali. Everyone was happy, shaking hands. There was a Maulana sitting there. He said, but how can this happen? Mu'jiza. The bride died, the news came, all started crying, and now after 3 or 4 hours, we are being told that the bride is safe. You know what the answer was? You'll be surprised. The answer was that she would have definitely died. The only solution was to spread the false news of her death. By spreading the false news of her death, we saved her. Do you understand this? You can imagine what's happening in a community which believes in Ahlul Bayt Salamullah alayhim ajmain. But when religion has not been understood, our principles have not been understood, then these things creep in. And I have given an example, but there are several examples which you yourselves can quote. All those things are besides the religion's principles. Now, we are living in a century, 20th century. I'm not talking of 21st. Nowadays it is a fashion about talking of what? 21st century. Mohsin Bhopali is a shair in Pakistan who I forgot to cut that off for my file. It has been lost. But I remember what he wrote. He wrote in Jung paper which is daily Jung which comes. He wrote that the people have now got a habit of talking about the 21st century. 21वीं सदी की बात करते हैं. Everywhere. आया हम 20वीं में दाखिल हुए भी नहीं. The question is whether we have entered the 20th or not. Before you go into 21st, the question is, ask yourselves whether we have entered. Well, this is the century in which there has been a problem. What is the problem? The problem is that there were 2 schools of thoughts. One believed that human knowledge is based on rationalism. Be with me for a few minutes and we shall pass this stage. I'm trying to simplify it. That knowledge is ilmi. That means you cannot ascertain anything except by rationalizing, by reason and by intellect. The rest is all humbug. There was a school in England, we used to receive courses in East Africa, courses on rationalism. Everything must be judged by human reason. If it measures up to intellect, then it is truth, otherwise it is untruth. As opposed to that school, there was another school in England, in America, and in the West, and of course the outposts were in the East, which believed that rationalism is a humbug. Empiricism is the truth. Empiricism means that which can be tested in the laboratory and that which can be felt by the five senses, that is truth, hissiyya, tajrubiyya. The rest is all bimulahizatil ikhtibar, that which can be tested by your own. These people had a problem, and in this we were also dragged. Those who believed that only reason and only intellect works, they had problems for centuries, for decades. Many things could not be settled by reason alone, my friends, and they fought. But none of them cared to come to the laboratory or come to some testing or to experimenting, because they didn't believe in it. And those who believed in experimentation, they never accepted to come back to ta'aqqul, ilm. Say, no, we must test. If it's 1 and 1, 2, it must be seen in the laboratory. There was a problem. I don't know whether you have seen this or not, but all of us know about it. How many times our senses, the eye, for which we say, unless we see, we will not believe. Seeing is believing, as it is said. How many times our eyes have given us that sort of deception, which is called optical illusion. There's a book, and books left. It can really. If you go to Bombay, you will know it better. I went to Bombay, and my wife told me that bring a cloth which is scarlet red. Scarlet red means deep red color. Inshallah, I never go shopping, but on that day I had to, because otherwise I wouldn't be allowed back home. The problem. Well, I went to the shop and I told the shopkeeper, and the shopkeepers of Bombay are Bombay walas, you know. He said, Seth, what can I do? He knew that he's a foreigner. Well, I said, I wanted a cloth which is deep red. Oh, yes, and he brought so many of them. Each one was deep red, no doubt. I bought one, satisfied that I have bought a good material, and the color is also according to the instructions given. He wrapped it in a good paper, and I brought it to my room. When I opened, it was a faded color. It was red, but not deep. Mu'jiza happened. What happened? It can't happen. See, but happened. How did it happen? You see, the fellow was so clever that he had kept a red light in that corner, and anything that you see, the rays that fall on it make it denser and deeper. That light, of course, was not there in my room. So what I can say is that my eyes deceived me. Open eyes, huh? I wasn't dreaming. And sometimes if I walk, and many of you know this, it may not be the case with all of you, but it's the case with most of us, that as we walk, what happened? Somebody called me, nobody called him. But he heard a voice. He heard his name. Nobody called him, Baba. The ears have given him some deception. And the day my nose is blocked, I don't know what I'm eating. I pray to Allah, Ya Allah, I don't know whether it is sweet or sour. It goes, that's all, because the taste buds are not functioning. The tongue itself is functioning, but the nose is not there to smell. And if I came to your house and you said, Mulla Sahab, you have come on the right occasion, today is the sagai of my son. I said, Ya Allah, Mubarak. Now, will you have some laddu? I said, yes. And he gave me laddu. And after that he gave me a cup of tea, and I said, my friend, you have forgotten the sugar. He says, the sugar is there, Mullah Sahab, 2 teaspoons. And I'm telling him that it is without sugar. Why? Because of that Laddu, my own tongue is deceiving me. And when we were in the school, we were told that the reason why thermometers were invented is simple. If you put your one hand in ice cold water and another in warm water, and then you have a glass of simple water, neither tepid nor cold, put it in. This hand will tell you that the water is hot because it has come from ice cold water. And this hand will tell you that this water is cold because it has come from warm water. The same man with same sensory nerves, but the reporting to the brain is different. In order to beat this discrepancy, there was a need of a meter which would give the exact heat degree. Right? A man who cannot rely on his five senses has been trying to prove to the world that this is how we should decide upon our knowledge. Well, Islam says that it is neither this nor that. It is the combination of both. It has got to be with ilm and together with that your tajruba, your experimentation. أَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا إِلَى الْأَرْضِ فَتَكُونُ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا. They don't go about to see the world so that they may return with the mind which thinks. That means as you go in the world, you experience. When you come back, it is your rationalization which works, the combination together. Understand? But Islam added the third dimension. This is important. There is a time when intellect will not work. Can it work? We have been told, don't think in God, think in God's creation. Because if you start thinking in God, you will never comprehend Him. But if you think in His creation, you will come to understand something. Well, there is a limit to human intellect, and there is a limit to human experience. Therefore, a third dimension is what is called that which comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is through the Anbiya, and that is Wahy, which will explain away those things which cannot be understood by human reason or human intellect. That is why Anbiya came to tell us what is the meaning of لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. What is the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His absolute unity, which can't be comprehended by you? What is the meaning of that absolute unity? What is the meaning of resurrection and rising after being dead and gone? These are the things which cannot be understood by human reason or by experience. That is the reason why, my friends, when Islam added this, now namaz, I believe that He is one. I believe that He is the one only who I will worship. I believe that I will seek all assistance from no one but Him. Correct? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says yes, but that is your concept. Now stand up and show by action that you will not bow down before anyone but. That is why that namaz which we pray is the mirror of what we believe. Try. We don't understand, we don't appreciate our namaz. But I can assure you that the kuffar, the non-believers, when they see namaz-e-jamaat, here, in Jami Mosque, on the day of Eid, in Kaaba around Masjid al-Haram, when they see at a time all the Muslims bowing down and then going to sajda together, they understand immediately that there is a hidden force in this, the force which brings them together, telling them that you shall bow down before none but He who has created you. The belief put into practice. I stand before Him in humility. I bow down in ruku, I bow down in ruku in humility. I go into sajda, and sajda except for Allah, it is not permissible in Islam. You can't do sajda for anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even for Aimah, not even in the haram, nowhere except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have understood this, then I have said that the first quality of man or distinctive feature is idrak, which is finished. Now the second one is that he moves. Tahrik bil ala. He moves locomotion. He rejects, he withholds, he proceeds, he accepts. All these are forms of that movement which is the distinctive feature of man. Your own child, if you observed, when it is born, after a few months it starts sitting. The mother is happy. She reports in the family, my child is now sitting. Alhamdulillah. But then you keep any object before it, it will see the object, it would like to go to that object, but it cannot go. Gradually it will develop a habit of crawling, and it will crawl. That is called that human distinctive feature, that there is something that gradually develops. The first instinct developed is movement towards that which it wants to obtain. In the history of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, if you have read, when Musa alayhi salam's mother was told to throw the baby into the sea, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ مَا يُوحَىٰ, Surah Taha. Allah says, "O Musa," and then we revealed unto your mother what was to be revealed. أَنِقْذِ فِيهِ فِي التَّابُوتِ فَقْذِ فِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. Put this child, or throw this child into a small casket and throw the child onto the sea. And she did it. It was the mother's heart. Quran says it was quite possible that she would have revealed what she has done, but we stopped, we put the strength in her mind. وَكَادَتْ لَتُبْدِي بِهِ لَوْلَا أَن رَبَطْنَا عَلَىٰ قَلْبِهَا. We made her heart strong not to reveal. Well, the child is Musa. The casket reached the shore, and Fir'aun brought up Musa in his own house. Although Musa was an enemy, and so many children of Banu Israel had been killed because Fir'aun feared that one son might come and topple me. The same son is now being brought up. When the child came into the palace, Fir'aun looked at it and said, this child does not seem to be from Coptic. He is Israelite. And he might be the one who will topple me. And his wife said, no, it is an innocent child. Allah has sent. Maybe he will become the apple of our eye. And Fir'aun says, I will have to test. Now if you look into the history, you'll find that there was a test carried out on Musa alayhi salam. In a small plate, some golden or metals, shining metal was put together with burning charcoal. The glow of charcoal is much more than the shine of the metal. If it is burning, the charcoal glows. It is more glittering than the metal. And he placed the plate before Musa alayhi salam. If it picks up that glowing charcoal, then it is not the child I should fear. But if it picks metal, then this is an extraordinary child. And Musa alayhi salam extended his hand towards the metal. And Jibril Amin was asked immediately to come and direct his small hand to the charcoal. And he picked the burning coal and he cried. What happened? Musa alayhi salam demonstrated that human knowledge can come both ways. Balki, as I said, 3 ways. First way being a Nabi comes from wahi. Second, it can come from reason, that charcoal will burn. Third, it can come from experience, that this charcoal burns, taught him that this is what happens to human child and to any human being for that reason. So now what happened? The summary is, which I'll carry on tomorrow because Tomorrow we are going to speak on a particular subject of the life and the circumstances in which our first Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi lived. As a preamble, only 2 lines. It means that for tahreek and for movement, a man now will act. All our actions, remember, and this is something which you should always remember, all our actions, right from earning, loving, hating, even talking, living in a society, respect, abhorrence, disrespect, whatever, call whatever action. They emanate from only 2 things. Every amal is only rooted into instincts. One, instinct to repel, and instinct to attract. That's all. You can't find the third one. Either it is daf'u shar or jalbul manfa'ah. Either a man does something to avert the evil and the loss, or does it to acquire the benefit. These are the 2 things, and there is nothing else. And you shall see tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, when we discuss the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. The beauty of Imam Ali alayhi salam is being one person, a person of immaculate and impeccable behavior, respected by both. But that personality attracted as well as repelled. There were people who found Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam repulsive, and there were people who find him attractive. Same personality. All our actions are in this. And as we go on, inshallah, on the other nights, I will show that under these 2 instincts which govern our behavior, how we repel and how we attract, and what are the factors which work, and how a society is formulated by individual behavior. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.